Hey, it's Will of DFS Army, back with another video. Gonna be going over the PrizePicks Sunday, October 22nd, NFL Week 7 slate. There are some weather games for this week, so there's a lot of players, a lot of categories that aren't still quite up yet. But working through it, we have 4 plays that I'm going to be giving for this week. The first 2 that I like a lot more than the other 2. So one of those 2 is going to be going to the touchdown category here with Kenneth Walker. Taking the over on touchdowns, more 0.5 pass rush plus receiving. This is my favorite play for the video, hence the thumbnail. Ken Walker, he's been getting a lot of touchdowns, but remember, touchdowns are volatile. But with the last 5 game log, I think a lot of people are going to be taking this. Kind of surprised, to be honest, that it isn't off the board yet. This is just a great matchup for the Seahawks. They're going to be playing at home. They are 8.5 favorites, a good total at 44.5. There could be some showers, but light rain isn't something that doesn't skew the scoring too much. But if it does cause any issues, that only could help the run game. So for the Seahawks, a home favorite running back at 8.5 or at 8.5 favorites, it just suits the game script really well for Walker. And then in terms of touchdown odds, he's at minus 185 on DraftKings, and FanDuel's minus 180. If you look at across all the sports books, there's some that even have him into the minus 200s. So this is just a very good odds prop. But even without looking at the odds, the matchup against Arizona, they're just getting gashed on the ground. They've allowed the 4th most rushing yards, touchdowns. They can be volatile. They've allowed 5, which is tied for 5th with a lot of other teams in terms of allowed rushing touchdowns to running back. So great matchup. Game script is there, and pretty much the guy that you want here for a touchdown prop. So really like this one. It's gonna be for play for the video. Now the second one, it is going to be Sam Howell under 230.5 passing yards, taking the less. The Commanders, they're taking on the New York Giants. And the Giants, we don't really know what type of offense they're going to show up with, because Daniel Jones is uncertain for this game. So if he's out, even though he hasn't been the best this season, that, of course, is a QB downgrade to the backup. So we could see the Commanders, this spread, be even more favorable for Washington. Currently, they are 3-point road favorites, and it's a very low total at 37.5, and that is because of the weather. This is one of the windy games for this week. This is actually the game that has probably the strongest winds, 20 miles per hour, 35 mile per hour gusts, which it's really just the same 20 mile per hour winds that are going to be the issue, and that's why we're seeing the total and the total, and then also the player, all these player lines, the odds are reflected in that. Now, Sam Howell, his player passing line for passing yards, it's at 227.5. Under is even at a minus 130, so we can see this one continue to go down because of the weather. The closer the weather looks, if the weather continues to look poor, closer the game time, then that's going to make these lines all go lower, total's going to decrease, and then if Daniel Jones is out, likely meaning the Commanders are going to win this game easily, then Sam Howell passing, all the passing props are going to just kind of continue to fall. So this is certainly one that I think is going to get bumped at least to the 227.5 soon, and then up until game time we might see this at like 220 or in the teens even. So this one I like the under because of the weather and then the game script and possibly Daniel Jones being out as well. And then these other 2, it's because of just kind of a weak board, so I'm a bit forced to give out these ones. But Russell Wilson over more than 19.5 rushing yards, taking on the Green Bay Packers. This Denver Broncos team has been terrible. Again, disappointing, especially that defense. They've just been allowing everyone to score, and so you're putting the offense in a tough situation where they're just gonna have to be playing to chase. Now the Broncos, they're actually only 1.5 road or 1.5 home dogs, and Green Bay, they are dealing some injuries, but it looks like probably most of the guys should be able to play. So even at home, Denver is not favored to win this game. When you're not favored, that means you're going to, well, you're going to be trailing. You're probably going to have to throw. late game, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if the Broncos ended up losing this game by more than that 1.5 spread. And Russell Wilson at 19.5 rushing yards, it's a little bit of a discount when you look at these odds. Russell Wilson is currently at 22.5 over here, even line. And this is a good thing when the quarterback is trailing for a rushing yard prop, because you're going to be throwing a lot, and when you're throwing, the ball's going to be in the quarterback's hands, which allows him to take off if needed. And typically when you are trailing, defense is going to give you soft coverage, allowing short passes, or also there's going to be dropping back. So meaning the defenders are not going to be up at the line of scrimmage, and Russell Wilson can take off if needed. And as poor as Russell Wilson has looked, he's been able to still use his legs to pick up some yardage. So with that 3-yard kind of value there, and probably a favorable game script for this rushing yards line for a quarterback, going to be taking the more, just taking the value there. And then the fourth one is going to be Isaiah Pacheco, also one that I'm kind of forcing here. More than 61.5. The line currently is at 62.5 over -125. So we could see this one creep up more than just the 1-yard value. But this one against the Chargers, we like to attack the Chargers defense. Now I was looking at these numbers. I thought that the Chargers would be worse than they currently are in terms of rushing yards allowed, but they're actually currently only allowing the 7th least rushing yards to running backs. Now, this is you can't really just look at this, because some teams have had their bye week, and the Chargers are one of those teams. So that means one less game than some of these, even two because of the Thursday night game for those two teams. But the Chargers, they're not a great defense, and in terms of rushing yards allowed, the rush attempts, like they would be higher up, allowing more rushing yards obviously if they had played an extra game, but because they already had their bye week, we're seeing them ranked down here. But that's a bit misleading, so don't think that they're like a strong run defense. And so we're getting Pacheco, the Chiefs offense with Mahomes at the helm, of course. They're just going to be extremely strong. They're going to be leading most games, winning a lot of games, and we see that in the total. Chiefs, they are at home at 5.5 favorites, 47.5 total, which is really strong. That happens to be the second highest one, behind only the Dolphins and the Eagles right here at 51.5. And when you do get a 5.5 spread, it is pretty solid when you're taking a rushing or a running back over more than rushing yard prop, because that's just it's like a solid spread there for these type of lines historically. And in terms of the rushes for the Chiefs, how they run their offensive running back, like Pacheco's really been the guy. He's taken on, he's had a much better role. He's performed better. And guys like Jerick McKinnon, he's the receiving down back. He sometimes doesn't even get a carry in games. And then CEH, he maybe gets 2 or 3 in competitive games. So it's pretty much just Pacheco getting like 90% around there of the carries for the Chiefs. So in competitive games. So I like this one, but really the key plays are Kenneth Walker more than 0.5 touchdowns and Sam Howell less than 230.5 passing yards. If you do want some extra plays, that's what Russ Wilson, Pacheco are there for. But again, these are the 2 favorite plays for this video, Ken Walker being the preferred one over Sam Howell. Going to be posting more when we do get more fantasy score props, because there's only currently 4 games up, and then also the targets category, which is generally a pretty solid one on both sites. So those will be posted in the DFS Army Discord when those are up on the board. So thank you guys for watching. Good luck on this week 7 NFL slate, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.